Okay. Alright, you all know the drill by now. Structure deck review, whether or not it's good for Genesys. Avocado, ghost pepper, strawberry toast. There it is. Woo-wee. That's a kicker. Ah, alright. Ah. Structure deck, Invincible Fortress. Let's begin. So, right off the bat, we've got the ace of the deck, supposedly. Exod, Master of the Guard. Now, while it is a monster that requires a tribute of a specific monster to be special summoned, it's not as specific as the monsters of the past. This one requires you to tribute a Sphinx monster. And let's see. There are a few good options here. Let's see. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. So it's better than before, and as I stated, if you're going to have an ace like this, you're going to want at least 3 so that you can get them summoned out. But now the gripe becomes you should have at least 2 copies of these. That makes it an even better chance of summoning them. But let's move on to its effect. Getting this guy on the field, 4,000 defense is nothing to sneeze at. Because, as we all know, the general strongest a monster can have without any drawback is 3,000, a la Blue Eyes. So this is a hard monster to get over. And furthermore, this also implements a certain strategy that this deck seems to feature, which is flip monsters. Which is very easy to utilize since you'll basically be wanting to use defense. So every time an earth monster is flip summoned while this card is on the field, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. However, unfortunately, the game has sped up quite a bit, so since Exod Master of the Guard doesn't really have any self-protection from destruction by card effects, it's not like there's no way to get rid of him. And then the other issue is that it requires the earth monsters to be flipped summoned, necessitating attacking, but as you'll probably see, most of the other monsters' defense can be overcome by the things that players can get out straight out the gate turn 1 and whatnot. So all in all, just kind of meh. Oh, I need to get a new one going. Let's see here. Alright. Next on the list, we have Great Spirit. Okay. Once per turn, during your main phase, you can flip this card in the face-down defense position. When this card is flip summoned, you can switch the original attack and defense of one face-up earth monster on the field until the end of its turn. Middling effect and middling stats. Like, this could easily be taken out by a boosted floater. And I believe at this point, the strongest normal monster that you could normal summon right out of the gate would have 1,800 attack. So this could easily be taken out unless we have some way of stopping attacks. And once again, can be destroyed by card effects. Next on the list, the floater of the deck, Giant Rat at 3. Not much I I don't think much needs to be said about Giant Rat. It's a monster. When it's destroyed by battle, you get to special summon an Earth monster with 1500 or less attack. But if someone blows this up, that just goes to the wayside. And Genesys, yeah, I get the feeling we can try floaters, but I get the feeling that there's still going to be some card destruction out there that will render this subpar at best. Maharagi, a spirit monster. Ah yes, this one. Let's see. It's a spirit monster, so it has the spirit monster effects. Its unique effect, let me get to it, is if normal summoned or flipped face up, you may look at a card on top of your deck during the next draw phase and return that card to the top or the bottom of the deck during right before drawing. Not much there is to say. It's a rock monster. It has subpar defense. It's a passable effect, but then again, it is a spirit monster, so you'd have to deal with that fact that it would return to your hand after it's flipped face up, and that would render your field advantage, like, that would mess with your field advantage. So, another subpar card. Alright, we're finally at one of the Sphinxes. Guardian Sphinx. A level 5 monster with 2400 defense, 1700 attack. A decent amount of defense, especially since, let's see, well, no, actually slightly underwhelming defense, as the strongest tribute monster at the time would likely have been Summoned Skull. Let's see, however, you can change this card to face down defense position once per turn, and when flip summoned, all monsters your opponent controls return to the hand. So yes, saying that is a pretty powerful effect. Its only drawback is you have to tribute a monster to summon it. But that is actually, yeah, so it necessitates attacking, like it necessitates getting rid of this guy. But again, it's susceptible to destruction effects unless there's something protecting it. So it does require support. Gigantes. This guy. We've got yet another monster that requires banishing a specific element from the graveyard. This guy, if destroyed by battle, will destroy all spells and traps on the field. Very good attack, very decent attack stat, and it's a special summon, so you can special summon this guy and use as tribute fodder. So, not a bad card for the strategy. Pretty good card all around, actually, especially for nowadays. Good way of getting a level 4 monster out, which is pretty big. So, if you decide to bring Exod into the modern era, maybe add some level 4 monsters. I think there's a Giant Soldier of Stone one. A Giant Soldier of Stone Xyz monster. In any case, Gigantes et 2. Now, here's a famous one. Stone Statue of the Aztecs. A level 4 with 2000 defense, and any battle damage your opponent would take from the battle against this card will be doubled. Now, again, I think I'm starting to see a pattern here that we're going to notice now. A lot of these cards are going to require outside support, because they can be easily destroyed, and they require your opponent to attack into them to get any major benefits from them. But 2,000 defense level 4 was not a bad thing at the time, and it's now just moderately underwhelming today. But there are a few strategies that can have and will utilize this card's effect. So I'd say it still has some relevance if you're able to give it the support it needs. Let's see. So statue. That brings us to the quarter mark. Time for another bite. So far, we haven't gotten any points, but I sincerely doubt that there will be a lot of cards in the deck that will rack up the points too much. Golem Sentry. Another monster that you can change to face down defense position. When flip summoned, you may return that target to the hand. 1800 defense. Underwhelming. And it has to be flip summoned for its effect to go off. So, an underwhelming card. That's all I can say about it. Now we've got the last two Sphinxes. First, Haraku Sphinx, which is an interesting name. The Haraku Sphinx? In any case. Now this is the outside support that we're talking about. But not that strong. While on the field, your opponent cannot select a face-down defense position monster as an attack target. It is probably one of the few Sphinxes with a high attack stat. So, yeah. Not a lot to say about this one either, except for it being the oddball that it should serve as a curator to your other rock monsters that you would want in defense position and don't want to have destroyed by attack. Though, a good Raigeki, a good Shield Bash will take care of things. So, Cryo Sphinx. This is a somewhat interesting one. When a monster is returned from the field to the owner's hand, the owner of the returned monster selects and sends a card in their hand to the graveyard. Okay. This one is definitely an oddball at that. Because, like, reverse stats for Haraku Sphinx and also serves as support to Haraku Sphinx. Isn't exactly a good card. It's, like, this is a win more card if I've ever seen one. Because, let's see. Because a lot of these monsters do have effects that return cards to the hand. But that alone would stop the opponent and then force him to discard it. That would, it's a win more card. So, easily destroyed and all that. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, and that's all the Sphinxes. So, all the Sphinxes are level 5, or in this deck, are level 5 or higher monsters. So we need Gigantes, probably, in order to summon these guys. and then you gotta get Exod in your hand. So far, it's not exactly an overwhelming strategy. Alright, Moai Interceptor Cannons at 2. Just a basic flip face down defense position card. I believe this is just so it can utilize the field spell. So yeah, just a regular 2000 defender to set and have keep set, all that. Mega Rock Dragon. Let's see, don't remember much about this one, so I'll have to review it. Okay, so it is a level 7 monster that can only be special summoned by removing from play a rock type monster in the graveyard. The original attack and defense become the number of rock type monsters removed from play when you special summon this card. So I guess this was to serve as an alternate win condition to Exod. Like you're done playing defense, so now it's time to go on the offensive. Let's see. However, you would need to yeah. So you would need about 5 in order to get a decent stat out of Mega Rock Dragon. So, and no self-protection or anything else about it, so probably decent about at the time, but not enough to make a big play. Guardian Statue. Let's see. Once per turn, you can flip this card in a face-down defense position. When flipped summoned, return a monster on your opponent's side of the field to its owner's hand. So yes, similar to Sentry Golem. And yet, it has a worse problem because its stats are lower. So yeah, this is definitely a monster you would want to replace to bring in another Golem Sentry if you even want to use this kind of strategy. I remember Medusa Worm being a bit better. Let me have a look. Let's see. Medusa Worm. Once per turn, you can flip this card in a face-down defense position. When flip summoned, destroy a monster on your opponent's side of the field. Okay, so I confused flip summoned with flipped face up at the time, but let's see. So, yeah. It has to be flip summoned once again, which is too slow of an activation time, and renders itself susceptible to all kinds of stuff. So, yes. Not that great neither. In fact, I would prefer Maneater Bug over Medusa Worm. Okay, Sand Moth. Let's see, when this face-down defense position card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, except by battle, switch the original attack and defense of this card and special summon it. This is a sort of Waking the Dragon card. It could backfire spectacularly, but it's also worth having as it does punish your opponent for destroying it outside of battle. So, a decent card for today, I suppose. And then getting to the halfway point, let's see, so 19 monsters. We're getting further and further along, and this seems to be a pretty decent number for the time. Half of the deck is the best, I suppose half or a couple cards over half the deck would be the best. But 19 is a respectable number. It's stable. It's consistent enough. And going into the halfway point, we go into the featured field spell for the deck. Canyon. At 1 copy, it's simply, let's see, if a rock-type monster in defense position is attacked, double any battle damage to the controller of the attacking monster. And it becomes quadrupled if Stone Statue of the Aztecs is attacked. But therein lies the rub. Your opponent has to attack your defense position monsters. This is the issue of defensive strategies. It is too reliant on your opponent doing something. Alright. Halfway there. Taking another bite. Alright. So already seeing some cards that we've seen before. We've got Mystical Space Typhoon. We've got Premature Burial adding some points. Swords of Revealing Light. There's Magical Mallet as opposed to Reload. Good to see they've learned from before. And Brain Control. So yeah, we'll go ahead and put these 3 in first because we've already kind of discussed them. And they are pretty decent staples. Premature Burial. For 7 points. Not so bad. Alright. So that's out of the way. So now, Shield and Sword seems to be an obvious pick. And it's at 2. Famously used to reverse the attack and defense of monsters on the field by Joey. A good change-up strategy. It switches the original attack defense of all face-up monsters currently on the field until the end of the turn. Which is a pretty good change-up strategy to throw your opponent off guard and run them over. So a decent addition, I believe. However, a better addition would be something like Raigeki. But we can't have everything. So shield and sword. But it is perfect for the deck. Being a generally high defense, low attack deck to counteract and signed. To counteract the general high attack, low defense strategies. And now, Hammer Shot. So this is one of those decent monster destruction cards. Destroy a face-up attack position monster with the highest attack. It does not target. It only determines what should be destroyed. So it can take out threats like it could possibly, well, no. I was about to say Dragoon, but nothing can destroy Dragoon unless perhaps a Hammer Shot Forbidden Droplet combo would be a good thing. So yeah, pretty decent card. Really decent card. Hammer Shot, Shield Bash, Fissure. Those are pretty decent cards for monster removal. Ectoplasmer. Let's see. Turn, read player's end phase. The turn player must attribute a face-up monster, and if they do, inflict damage to their opponent equal to half the original attack of the attributed monster. Actually, this could be useful for the deck, because generally, the monsters that this deck would have on the field would be in face-down defense position. And any monsters that you would have face up would have pretty high attack, and this also forces your opponent to do the same. Although, the problem with that is that you'll also be taking damage every time. So it's a sort of double-edged sword, but it works in the deck. And as for the final spell card on the list, we have Shifting Shadows, which again is another card that's usable for this deck. Once per turn, by paying 300 life points, rearrange the face-down defense position monsters on your side of the field, then return them in face-down defense position. Very good for tricking your opponent into attacking a monster they didn't mean to attack into. Or like it's a sort of meta card that helps trick your opponent, but it also is rendered useless in the face of Raigeki. So, possibly a win more card. Alright. 3/4 of the way, and we only have 7 points in. So, yeah. I mean, I had predicted that we weren't going to see a lot of high point cards. Alright. Let's bite. Alright. Okay. Bit of crumb down my throat. I'm good. Let's start off with the cards that we've discussed before. We've got Reckless Greed, decent draw power. And we've got Compulsory Evacuation Device at 2 for card removal. Let's see, your opponent has a monster on the field, Compulsory Evacuation Device, returns it to the hand, or extra deck. So, decent additions. Now, first on the list, Waboku. Oh. No battle damage taken this turn, and your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. A simple effect, very powerful. Utilized alongside Threatening Roar to prevent your opponent from making a move during the battle phase. Although, either or, Waboku lends to certain strategies, while Threatening Roar lends itself to others. This one, let's see, with Waboku, it's better utilized in a strategy that relies on opponents attacking during the battle phase. Let's see, Waboku at 1. Now, we are looking at this one, and I can't help but think this could be a 100-point card. Because this one has been sitting on the ban list for the longest time, and with good reason. I think it's still there. Let's see. Yep, it is still forbidden today. I think it got off for a while until Link Monsters, and now we're back into it. Ultimate Offering. During the main phase, or your opponent's battle phase, you may pay 500 life points to immediately normal summon or set a monster. And there is no limit to how many times you can do it. So, yeah, this is a pretty troublesome card, and this would definitely make the Exod a force to be reckoned with. So let's see if this automatically puts it over. Ultimate Offering. Really? 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 Really, 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 really? 0 points, Ultimate Offering. Ha! 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 That gives me a bunch of ideas. That gives me a bunch of ideas. Which, I wonder if it's because it requires certain monsters to make this good. Well, in any case, yeah, you're free to use Ultimate Offering. You're free to use Ultimate Offering all you want in Genesys. It doesn't seem to have any problems. Alright, Magic Drain. Let's see, this one's a negation. Let's see. When your opponent faces a spell card, they can discard a spell to negate this card's effect. Otherwise, negate the activation of their spell card, and if you do, destroy it. So yeah, this one is kind of along the lines of Dark Bribe, except your opponent has to give up something in order to let their effect go through. So, this one's a coin flip, but it's something that gives your opponent disadvantage in the hand. And these days, spell cards are on the lower end. They would probably have one or two, but they wouldn't want to get rid of them that easily unless they really want to push through. So yes, it could put your opponent at a disadvantage for their advantage. A decent effect. Robin Goblin. Each time a monster you control inflicts spell damage to your opponent discards a random card. A win more card. Simple as that. Just a win more card. And then the last card to look over. Ordeal of a Traveler at 2. This was made famous when Joey went up against Solomon Moto. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, your opponent chooses a random card in your hand and calls the type of card between monster, spell, or trap, and if they call it wrong, the attacking monster is returned to the hand. A decent effect can be overcome by simple card knowledge, which you will be giving your opponent every time they attack. So yeah, against an intelligent opponent, it would only work at least it will work 2 times before they start catching on. Alright. So, a few crazy things today, but all in all, just an average deck that you could probably take to your local Genesys tournament after some adjustments, of course. I mean, I am definitely surprised that Ultimate Offering has no points value assigned to it. Though I think Konami mitigated this by taking out the problem cards, which would likely be Link monsters, and they probably limited the monsters that you would want to summon with Ultimate Offering. So yeah. And I've got something to discuss on Discord now. But with that, I can safely say that it's automatically saved. That Ordeal, that Invincible Fortress is Genesys friendly right out of the box. Though underwhelmingly so, as there's not a lot of strong cards to look into, but maybe there are just diamonds in the rough. Let's see here. So yeah. Alright. So, tune in next time as I review one that is possibly my favorite structure deck because it features a certain card that was hard to get to at the time. Lord of the Storm. Thank you for watching. Controlled Chaos, signing out.